Hi everybody, we're going to talk about how to make a stem and leaf plot. You should be in your Unit 6 packet on the very back of the page. So you guys need to be able to do two different things. If I give you some data, you need to be able to create a stem and leaf plot, or if I give you the stem and leaf plot, you need to be able to pull data from it. So here's some stuff you guys need to fill in. Stem and leaf plots are a quick way to summarize data. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. The stems are the numbers on the left of the diagram, and they represent the tens place of the number. The leaves are the numbers that are on the right, and they represent the ones place. So look at that first example. So we have some data up here. According to our title here, we're talking about pulse. So maybe this is like resting heart rates of a bunch of different people, for instance. We just talked about the stems are these numbers on the left side of the picture. So this represents the tens place. The numbers on the right side represent the ones place. So really what this is telling me is this first number right here is 68. And notice the 8 repeats again, so there's another 68. There's a third 68, and then there's 69. Right here, all of these values right here are in the 70s. So you have 70, 71, 71, 74, 76, 76, and 78. I asked you guys to rewrite row 8 as regular numbers. So row 8 is right here. We're going to start with, that's 8 in the tens place. And we have 4 different values that are in the 80s here. So the first number is 82. The second number is 86. And then we have 88. And we have one more 88. If a number is repeated like that, you do have to write it twice. So that means we happen to have 2 people when we collected data that had the same heart rate. If you look down here, when there's an 11 on the side, really what that number is going to be is 110. So it is possible to have a stem that doesn't have any leaves on it. So for instance, if there were no values in the 90s, you would still put this 9 right here, but you would just leave this part blank. So if there's no numbers written there, that just means that there are no values in that, with that tens place. So now I'm going to give you guys some data. So example 2, your class just took the last math test of the semester. That's coming up for you guys. Let's say here are the scores. The first thing we need to do before we make that stem and leaf plot is put these values in numerical order. So let's pause the video here for a second, and I'll give you guys a chance to do that, and then we'll pick up. So you should have those values in numerical order. Here's what you should end up with. We need to make our stem and leaf plot. So first thing we need to do is figure out what our stems are. So if I look at the data here, I see our smallest value is in the 30s, our largest value is over in the hundreds. So that tells me for the tens places, we go from 3 all the way up to 10. We don't have any values in the 40s and 50s, but we do still have to write the 4 and 5 in there. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we'll start with that first number here. The first number is 33, so I put that by the stem of 3, and the leaf is also 3. And then I'll cross that off because I know I used it. We don't have anything in the 40s or 50s, so just leave those blank. Our next number is 64, so put a 4 next to the 6. The next number is 71, so put a 1 next to the 7. And then let's pause the video here. I'll give you guys a chance to try this on your own, and then I'll show you what your answer looks like in just a second. Hopefully you guys have this done and we're just checking answers here. Here's what the rest of this picture should look like. So there's all my 70s. If you do have the same number more than once, you do need to write it more than once. So there's two 81s. Notice that I wrote 1, 1 for each one of those. We have two 83s, two 85s, 186, 188. So there's all the 90s. And then for the hundreds, we already have the 1 and the 0 on the left. So really we just need to write the ones placed on the right. So we put in a 0 right there. So this gives you kind of a quick picture of the distribution of the data. So I can tell, for instance, the most common test score was in the 80s. That's where the most of the kids fell. You can also see there were a fair number in the 70s, there were a fair number in the 90s, and then we had a few, like here's kind of an outlier back here at 33. So a quick picture of the data, basically, is what a stem and leaf plot is going to do for us. The other thing I want you guys to do is take a second, look at this data, and find the mean, the median, and the mode. So let's pause the video right here. You guys do that, and I'll check back in with you in just a minute. So for the mean, remember we have to add up every single number up here. And if you do that, for that top number, you should get 1558. And then we need to divide that by the number of kids that took the test. So in this case, we have 20 numbers, so 20 kids took the test. So 1558 divided by 20, so the average score was 77.9. The median, remember, is middle, so we have 20 numbers here. We need to figure out where the middle is. The middle falls right here. We actually have two numbers in the middle, since we have an even number of numbers. So 83 and 85, to figure out the median, we actually have to take those two numbers, add them up, and divide by 2. So basically find the average. And in this case, our median should be 84. The mode, remember we're looking for the most common number. So I see 81 happens twice, 83 happens twice, 85 happens twice, and 97 happens twice. So we actually have to write down each one of those numbers for the mode. So 81, 83, 85, and 97. You guys have one more question to answer. So it says, given this information, would you say that the students did well on the exam? So make a claim, what do you think? And then use that data to provide evidence to support your claim. So please finish this last question, and then what you guys are going to do is grab your homework packet from yesterday. Lesson 6.1 should already be done. That's what your your homework that was due today. And then please finish 6.2 and 6.3. So you're going to finish your whole homework packet. Bye, guys. Stay on task. Be good.